Meowzit, hiya-hello, it's Miyou, and today I'll be photo bashing my OCs. Photo bashing, according to the Wiktionary, means to compose a digital image from multiple assets such as photos and 3D models, with artistic interpretation to modify and blend them together seamlessly. Essentially, you just take multiple images and you put them together and make it look like one. Now, I've seen quite a few people doing this with their original characters on my For You page, and I've been intending to do that for a few months now, but I've been kind of in a content drought because I'm not sure what I'm really supposed to post, and I didn't just want to post another digital speed paint because I've been doing those a lot, so I just decided to do something with my OC brain rot, and I decided to photo bash my Masho OCX cannon. Yay! Clapping for shocked. My lucky, once again, another video revolving around the two of them. Alright, let's get to the art. First up is Lucky. I've always imagined Lucky with her pretty round face, which is why I started off searching for that as my base model. Every time I draw them, it's kind of with that cat anime mouth, so I made sure to find somebody with that same sort of mouth for this. When I draw them, their eyes are kind of down, or they're always kind of a bit sleepy, so I got a model that had kind of downturned eyes. They also have a pretty wide nose, and that was pretty easy for me to find because the kind of nose I imagined them with is sort of the nose that most black people have. Since her skin color was darker than our bases, I just took her nose, I set the layer mode to screen, and I just kept doing that until it was a matching-ish shade. But then finding the hairstyle wasn't too hard for me because I knew where I was gonna look. I see a lot of GIK girls having this sort of hairstyle where it's extremely blunt bangs and then kind of like a side fringe, and that's what their hair is. So I just found a girl in GIK makeup and I took her hair. It still wasn't perfect exactly because they only have bangs from one side of their face, so what I did was that I just kind of erased that half, and then I tried to make it look like the other part of their bangs was tucked behind their left side fringe. Their natural hair is pretty curly, so what I searched up was just short curly hair, and I took the model that looked the most similar to what I think they'd look like, and I took her hair. They actually straighten out their bangs, which is why the front and back are different textures. And since her hair was black, I just did the same thing I did with their nose, and I put a screen tone over it until I felt it was the same-ish tone as her bangs. I used a sort of airbrush to make their face, especially around the nose, look more unified. And then I gave her eyebrows. I spent like 10 minutes searching for small round eyebrows, and I never got what I wanted. I searched small eyebrows at first, and then I got girls with pencil thin eyebrows. It's like really long pencil thin eyebrows, which is obviously not what I wanted because that's not how they look. And I had like 5 million variations of that before I remembered geishas. A lot of them have round eyebrows, so I decided that I was gonna just take a picture of the geisha with the eyebrows that I wanted and then put them on Lucky. I shrunk their lips down a little because they were looking like a clown, and I actually despise that so much. So their smile ended up being a little more curved, which is more accurate to what they look like when I draw them. For the colors, I just took their base colors, put that on a layer underneath our line art. I realized that I'd actually forgotten their lines, so I went in and I drew those. I made their eyes bigger and their face rounder because to me they were looking too much like an adult, but that was a really big mistake on my part because they kind of don't look like a real human being anymore. They kind of just look like a sim, and that's our Lucky. Now, moving on to Milo. Since I did Milo second, I already knew the mistakes I'd made, so I decided to use a younger model for a base. Milo's cannon design and the way I draw her has extremely wide eyes, so that's what I searched up, and I found a perfect image of this kid with like the biggest eyes ever. So that's what I decided to use. I also imagined her to have pretty round lips, so that's what I searched for. This is a head cannon, obviously, but I always tend to draw Milo with like pretty thick eyebrows, so I got a model with pretty thick eyebrows. I already draw Milo with a bob, so it was pretty lucky that our base also had a bob, so I didn't have to find anything for that part. But that was the back section of the hair, so now I had to find something for the front middle section of the hair. Before I really even started Milo, I thought of how I'd be able to construct her hair, and I realized that a lot of anime wigs have the sort of hair that she has. Well, the hair that I draw her with anyways. So that's what I searched for. and it was extremely easy to find like 3 different anime wigs that had parts that I needed, and I just put all of them together. The only wig I can recognize is the one from that pink girl from Down to Down. I think her name is like Ira or something. I don't really know anything about Down to Down. I watched the first few episodes like a few months ago, but I completely forgot everything about it. Again, I put the screen tone over the hair to make it lighter because I don't really imagine Milo with like dark hair. I imagine her like sort of with like around the same tone as light brown. I remember to add her lines before I did the coloring this time, and I used the same method I did for Lucky. I colored her in, and I decided to make the liner art be like a bit brown instead of just being black, and I kind of sort of regret it now, but I don't really feel like going back, so I'm just gonna have to live with it. And there's our Milo. And here's our haul. Everything we made today, including the grayscale version. Out of the 2 of them, Lucky's definitely my favorite. Milo just looks extremely uncanny to me. I'm pretty sure it's the eyes and the lips not really matching, or maybe it's the fact that the line art is brown and that's not what human beings look like. Well, we don't have line art, but still. But in the end, the both of them just look like Sims. So, for what it's worth, I feel like this is a pretty good attempt. I don't really think that I'll be doing this that often, but it was nice for me to try something out. Anyways, adios, bye-bye, and ta-ta from Meow.